Hey guys, welcome to the Perfectly Wasted Podcast. I'm the host, DullOxide. Today we're going on to episode 12, Gaming Roots, my gaming roots specifically. You can find all of my previous episodes on the Drinking Wisemen YouTube channel, as well as my bi-weekly podcast, Brew the Truth. All my day-to-day photos, cosplay photos on my Instagram at DullOxide. So the reason that I decided to do a Gaming Roots episode is actually because recently I was playing a game of Overwatch, and I ran into a group, a three-man team that was a bunch of like kids basically. They're, in their early teens, and I kind of asked them like, "Hey, not going to be rude about it or anything. Are you guys all like pretty young, like in your 13, 14 age range?" And they were like, "Yeah, we are." And I was like, "All right, well, I'm kind of curious, what got you guys into gaming?" So they told me their little stories, and usually it's like, I started playing Minecraft, I started doing this and that, and they asked, "Hey, what got you into gaming?" So I kind of gave them a shortened version of what I'm about to give you inside of a 10-minute span. But basically, it got me thinking like, well, hey, I'm kind of curious what got a lot of people into gaming. So I'm going to do an episode here about my gaming roots, and I'd really like to hear back from you guys about what you got all you guys gaming initially, So let's go ahead and get going. So like a lot of other people, I started gaming on console because that's all there was when I was younger. The very first console that we actually got since I had been born, essentially, was the SNES, but my parents had an Atari, and we used to play, Pitfall and all those other great games on the Atari. And then the very first thing that we got as a group gift to me and my siblings was the SNES. And holy shit, was it fucking awesome. When the SNES first came out, we loved it. We played it all the fucking time. I mean, still one of the best systems that you could find and buy for pretty much any age range. There's games on it that anyone can play that have crazy difficulty, like Battletoads. Super fucking hard, okay? So we used to play all the time, and we really loved it. We didn't have a Sega Genesis, but I ended up getting a Sega when I was older, and that's what really kind of got me into it. After I moved to Las Vegas, around the time I was probably like 11 or so, I started getting more heavy into computers, and then I ended up building my first computer, and then from there, I got into StarCraft. All right, now, I do actually have, boom, my original game disc, okay? I don't have Brood Wars on hand. I've got it somewhere, but, trying to find anything these days that's that old is kind of hard. I know I've got an actual copy. I don't know where it is. But I used to play StarCraft tons when I was younger. And, as time went by, I started moving away from StarCraft and started trying to go towards more consoles actually for a little while. I kind of like swap back and forth. And when I went through and switched over to consoles, the big console at the time was PlayStation, but I loved the Dreamcast. Okay, so the PlayStation came out. I didn't actually want a PlayStation. My brother bought one, and I started playing some of the games on that. But then the Dreamcast is one of my favorite systems of all time. Like, I could play that for hours. It had fantastic games. It was really short-lived. And one of the games that I started playing on it was Phantasy Star Online. And this game, is fucking fantastic. When it came out, I played it all the time. I loved it, and essentially, that's what part of my love for the system came from. And then actually branched off, and it made me start to play other games, which obviously, I really actually love the PlayStation MEGAMAN series and the early MEGAMAN series also. And because of my love for that, I started getting into the Sega Saturn. And, Sega Saturn essentially is around the same era as PlayStation, but it had a lot limited American releases that were really good. And I have some, exclusives and stuff that came out in Japan only. And I really started to try and collect a couple of those kind of things. I really enjoyed it. But really, the real here is that the system itself, this system right here, this is my boy, all right? Still runs. This is one of the original releases, so it doesn't have region coding or anything like that. You can see it's a little discolored on the outside. It's still perfect. Great system. If I had any games that I really wanted to play, I could play them right now. I don't really have any that I want to play, but it still holds up. Marvel vs. Capcom on it, I personally think was the better port of it compared to the PlayStation release, but, that's kind of neither here nor there. So with that, around that same time, I actually ran into a game that was usually popular in Korea called Ragnarok Online. Okay? I played so much Ragnarok Online. I was literally playing it into my 20s. I still started playing it in my late 20s. At one point, I was at an anime expo and they had the Ragnarok. I think it was the author of the manga that was there, and I got him to sign one of the Ragnarok discs for the American servers that they were also giving out at the same event. And I got myself a hat, which I like. I never wear hats, but this is one of the only hats I own. I don't really wear it, but it's pretty much the only hat I own, so that says something. With that, around the same time I was playing my Dreamcast and starting to love things and playing Ragnarok, I really, really, really got into Yu-Gi-Oh! All right, so much so that I have probably the biggest collection of Yu-Gi-Oh cards out of everyone that I know. This is actually a sealed, unopened pack, which I have far too many of these too. But I really, really enjoy the game, and part of the reason I like Duel Links now that's out is because I enjoyed the game. And I'm actually gonna bust this card pack open right now. You can see I got my picture here of the Forbidden One, which everyone that plays the actual game knows isn't that great. But so just for fun, we're gonna see if we got holographic, and I didn't. It's just a elemental hero. But yeah, so I've got tons and tons of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I still actually play, obviously, with playing Duel Links. So there's a lot of different card games, actually, that I play now. I play a lot of the deck builder games that are out currently because it's just actually cheaper than going out and buying any sets of cards to try and build a deck for. It's way too expensive. I learned early on that it was too expensive. But basically, that's kind of where my gaming roots came from. Is I went through and I started playing the Mario games, and then I kind of went full circle with everything. I went into the video games that they had on console, and then from console I went to my computer, and then from computer I kind of flip-flopped back and forth between what I wanted to play if I was with friends and when I wasn't. Around the same time, I kind of went to tabletop, and it really was kind of like in my early teens that I started developing my taste for video games, and that's basically what's made me today. I used to play Quake. I used to go through and we had LAN parties where we brought all of our computers together and played StarCraft, which no one does anymore, but that kind of got everyone going. I played Ragnarok Online, and that kind of got me through. I started playing WoW a little bit and then stopped playing WoW because that game is fucking cancer. Then, there's just tons of stuff now. I played Guild Wars 2. I've been in open betas for games that, some games that I've played never even got released. Some of them are still waiting to be released. I still try and find games to play with some of my friends. It's kind of a whole community that you start to build off of just playing games. Like a lot of the people I know now play Overwatch. Do I actually play with many of them? No, not really. We're all kind of different skill levels, so it doesn't really work out. But it makes it so that it's something that we could talk about. I've got friends I could talk to about Yu-Gi-Oh! I've got friends that I could talk to about my Dreamcast love. I got friends that I could talk to about Overwatch, about Heroes of the Storm, League of Legends, all these other games that I've played, that I've been into and been playing for a really long time now. I don't play as much League of Legends anymore because it got too out of hand. There's too many things that you needed to know to be able to be good at it. The skill shots were not the thing I was really great at. I'd rather play a first-person shooter like Overwatch and be able to have different classes that I can be good with. So, really, as you start to go through and develop your taste for games, I'm just kind of curious where everyone else kind of ended up. Are you more of a tabletop gamer, or are you more of a console gamer? What got you started on it? Did you start kind of the same spot that I started at? If you could please comment and let me know. I'm really kind of interested in this now. It kind of really spurred my interest over the weekend talking to those guys and finding out basically what their love was. And, most of them, like I said, started on Minecraft, which a lot of people still play and love because it's a great game. It's a great indie game. It started the whole indie game trend, which there are tons of indie games now that everyone loves. So, that's kind of what brought this all on. If you guys are interested in any of the other games that I might have played, please feel free to like, comment, please do subscribe and share, and let me know what you guys think. what essentially brought you guys into the gaming fold. So that was how I went through and developed my gaming roots and how I've basically gotten to where I am today with games. And I appreciate you guys listening. That was 10 minutes perfectly wasted.